We are live, and Johnny's having a crisis of wills, but we're here with Blaze of Glory Holes, which is so much more on point than you think it is for the current situation. That being said, if you guys want to support this channel and see more intros like that, you can do so by going to our Patreon. If you want to join the conversation, the best way to do that is over on our Discord, and you will see in the bottom right-hand corner of this stream the Thurs fortune. Every time that bar gets filled, Johnny gets to do whatever the hell he wants, which is usually bad. The other, more important thing is every little bit of money that goes into that bar goes back to these wonderful, amazing players right here that you see before you. Despite the fact that Cherry is a very stationary picture, she is in fact here. So we'll go around. No, we're not going to go around. This is the intro. So we have McLokin, we have Sam, aka the Wizened Fool, we have Cherry Babam's stationary visage, and of course we have Johnny doing whatever he's doing. That being said, Johnny, take us into space.
Question mark?
Yep.
It's really a question mark right now, and I'm
really a storm out there.
It's pretty perplexing, actually.
No, he wasn't ready.
All right, guys, hold on a second. Because of the terribleness of the yeah, here we are.
Welcome
episode 6, right? We're at episode 6. That's
7?
it. Or no, 7. That's right. All right. Previously on Blaze of Glory Holes, The Cove, a supposedly wretched hive of scum and villainy run by the Maelstrom pirates as their base of operations for criminal activities. It's at the center of the Ashtari cloud, a nebula created by a mishap from the remains of an ship. The nebula is hard to navigate and requires a lot of patience and skill from any ship's crew to try to get to the cove. Maelstrom pirates guard the secret of easily navigating the nebula. Basically, it's a hard place to get to. But the clue of the Blaze of Glory made it without a problem. And what they found there was anything but wretched or criminal. Well, maybe vaguely criminal. The crew found themselves facing blasters pointed at them. Behind these blasters were pirates wearing uniforms. They were led by an old friend of Switch's by the name of Ren. It seems Ren is the right-hand person for the Banshee, the pirate queen of the Cove. Ren was all business, literally, as she checked schedules and itineraries while chastising Switch for using her name to gain access to the pirate space station. Crew's punishment? A visit with the pirate queen herself with an escort from the uniform-wearing pirates. It was a long walk to the Banshee's office, and the crew made idle chit-chat with the pirate escort. When they finally arrive, what they find is something completely unexpected. The Banshee has a huge reputation for being brutal and direct, volatile and loyal to those who fly with her. What they find is Alonda Ryle, CEO type of the Maelstrom Pirates, managing her business. Paperwork is scattered all across her desk, and she appears to be very calm and diplomatic. Knowing something is up, Levi notices that she has subtle tics and mannerisms of somebody who is using pharmaceuticals to manage their mental state. He can see the rage behind the calm demeanor. Attempts by Fitzy and Levi to break that demeanor go nowhere, but it's clear that Alonda is not comfortable business-like. Come on, you were offering her alcohol. Let's be completely clear about this. Yeah. There were offers of alcohol by Fitzy. Let's be honest.
Many of them.
I was just trying to offer her alcohol as a nice, friendly gesture.
Right,
Rude.
Right.
Was I taking a space nap during this?
Yeah, you were on drugs, I think was what happened.
Did I just pass out in the corner and you actually needed drugs for once?
I think we there?
Yes.
Yeah, we did need drugs.
We mentioned a couple of times that you were waving the gun around.
Oh, it could be. I could be like just blacked out.
Always like wave the gun around, and we're like, "Can you stop doing that?" You're like,
"Doing what?"
I could just be blacked out in the corner, just standing, but not actually there. That works.
Hey guys, I'm not done yet. I got like one more paragraph left.
Okay.
I know. I'm sorry. Hold on. There we go. Alonda points out that the crew's inappropriate behavior of getting onto the cove could be excused. They would just need to do a little job for her. Rescue a business partner from the Straylight. The Straylight is an upscale nightclub and bar that moves from planet to planet through the Ren system. Currently, it's on the move from Alif and is vulnerable. The crew is to retrieve her business partner from the hands of some criminal organization. They agree and make their way back towards the Glory. But as we fade in, Levi gets a message from Lynn's contact that they look forward to being rescued by the crew on the Straylight. and we fade into that conversation. That message just came across your display, Levi.
Only Levi can see it right now, though, right?
Only Levi can see it.
What? Wait, what? The message say one more time?
They look that their lens contact looks forward to being rescued by the crew on the stray light.
I show everyone. I'm like, oh, look at this.
I'm
Nah,
muted. You know, Johnny, I'm sorry. You can't hear me right now. You named the show Blinded by the Light when we're going to the Stray Light and there's a band called Stray Light Run and you didn't take that opportunity. I'm disappointed in you. Carry on with the roleplay. Go back to the game.
Hey, you know what? If I remember correctly, we named it like 3 different things. Would you like me to refer back to the Discord right now? Let me see.
None of them are called Stray Light Run.
No, what I stated as the show title. Okay, hold on. Where is it? Episode titles. Right here.
I see them.
Off the beaten path, blinded by the light, or Levi and Fitzy's bogus journey or bogus adventure. And you chose blinded by the light.
It's because it's YouTube character limits.
We're good at this, I promise.
Okay. Anyway, so
It's seen.
we see the tablet. Yeah.
That looks bad.
Yeah. That really. That seems like a trap. It seems like we're getting played here, but.
I'm gonna go prepare the drugs.
What?
What drugs are you preparing? You don't even know what's happening on the ship.
It's fine. I'm sure we'll need drugs.
I mean, she's not wrong.
She's completely right. So quickly, where are we right now? We're on the ship.
We're
You're on
about
the cove, walking back to the ship.
Getting ready to leave the cove.
Okay, so here's the plan, right? We're gonna get in the ship and we're gonna zoom off to the Stray Light and we're gonna hit the club. And by hit the club, I mean break a man out of prison, because it's definitely not a prison. And then we're gonna come right back here. Simple, quick, and clean.
What, Johnny? This is a really random question. What kind of shoes was the Banshee Queen wearing?
Jimmy Choo.
Actually, given everything that you were looking at and looking for in that scene, I don't think that's an out of the sorts question at all. She was wearing sensible shoes.
Okay.
Business-like shoes.
Okay.
Just a thicker 1-inch heel.
Well, the kind of thing that you don't like slip on, you know, the grime and blood that might be around the ship.
Sure. Jesus Christ.
Was there a follow-up based on that?
Are you drawing character?
Question now?
Drawing character art for the woman?
No. Just want to. I have to. You guys keep going.
So
Okay.
here's what I'm thinking, right? Is we're gonna need to at least get in a little bit of fisticuffs and fight our way through. There's gonna be guards there. It's a prison for sure. They're not just going to
Right,
waltz
but
in.
let's not assume that we're going in with the punchy and the shooting.
I don't know if you've ever been into a prison situation, but
I'm pretty sure I've been to way more prisons than you.
that's debatable. And it also depends on which side of the bars you've been on. Not that that's a story for today, but it's not easy to get in, and it's not easy to get out. It's actually even harder to get out. We have to do both of those things.
Yeah,
So-
that's the point, is to keep people from getting out. You make me so
Right,
tired.
but
you make
if
me
we-
so tired.
We can easily walk in with your talky talk, but how to get out with a man that we've stolen, that's going to take some punching and some shooting.
well, okay. Well,
And some boom boom and some drugs. She yells as she goes.
Stay in your lab.
look, yeah, I'm not saying that it might not go wrong, but let's at least try to come up with a plan that might potentially get us out without punching.
Oh, you're assuming that the punching is the wrong way. That was plan A for me.
Well, here's the thing: is I see where you're coming from.
Right.
I'm not trying to yuck your yum over here, but
Okay.
once we go to the punching, we can't go back. The thing about the talking is we can always go to the punching. That's why it makes a good plan B. Because you got to be able to progress from A to B to C. You can't progress from punching to talking unless you kind of already have everything solved.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. You just keep punching until you're out.
Right, but that means that's only one plan then. You don't have a
Oh
B.
yeah, you can talk your way in, and then we punch our way out. And that's it. There's no other plan B. The plan B for punching is if we need to, Sally can wave her gun around and shoot the ceiling a few times.
But that's just part of the violence plan.
No, it's progressively more violent. I don't use guns. I use
She
fists.
pokes her head out of her office. Are we gonna upper deck them again, or is that cruel to the prisoners?
I'm fairly unfamiliar with this term, the upper deck. Is that like a... I was unconscious for this whole entire...
It's like where you traditionally, it's like where it's a prank. You make the poop come out when you flush.
You poop.
I mean, usually I...
Poop in the top pot, and then when they flush, it comes out.
Oh, I like to poop before I flush, but I understand now what you're saying. That makes... that makes a lot more sense.
Oh, God.
But anyway, so that aside, pranks aside, look, can we at least try it my way?
I figure we just use everyone's skills. You talk, Levi will do whatever button pressing nonsense that he does, and his shouty robot. And then Sally will wave a gun around and throw drugs at everyone. And then, I'll punch a handful of dozen or so guards. 3 dozen.
I mean, I can see we're not going to go. We can just go back and forth about this all night. I can see that.
I mean, at the end of the day, I was asleep when something needed punching because I had a space ghost to refer you back to the space ghost that's living in my head. So this time around, I'm going to punch something.
I feel like I'm being punished for you not being there when I needed you.
Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way.
That's not how this is supposed to work.
If that's how you feel that way, there's a doctor on board, and she's got plenty of drugs to make you feel better about yourself.
I don't know. After this mission is done, me and you need to have a serious talk about our employment contract.
I don't have a contract. I just sort of showed up on your ship with Sally when it came as a package deal.
We had a verbal contract, though. That holds up. That would hold up.
Not in the court of law.
I'm pretty sure.
What are you, some kind of lawyer?
Now we get to the ship. It's like as we're getting.
Yeah, this is loudly happening on the walk back.
Sally's gonna walk back to Switch and go hand him red ones, and what's another color we haven't used? Black ones.
Oh boy.
The red ones make you remember. She drops it into your right pocket. The black ones
make you forget.
No.
They make you sleep forever. Whoa.
Yeah. Why don't we go with make you forget? I was gonna say she's working on a true serum, but I don't know how effective it is yet. We'd have to test that. So we'll do a make you remember, make you forget. And she just drops some in your pockets. Being as you like to do all the talking, maybe that'll come into use for you.
Yeah, perfect. And look, if they don't come into use, well, there's always after the mission. So that's good.
Truth or dare with drugs. That sounds fun.
I love the idea that since you test all of these on Levi, that it's like you tried to do a truth serum and you're like asking him questions and he's just like, I don't know.
But then I found something that helped him remember. So yeah.
Levi, I can't help but see you wildly pantomiming over there about a tablet. What are you doing over there with your little toy box? What's happening?
Well, Levi, what are you doing over there pantomiming with that little toy box?
Hardcore roleplay, as they call it.
There's a reason why Levi is not saying anything, because he's busy looking at things. And there's 2 things I'm doing, and I threw this by Johnny. I want to see if I can get a feed of the Banshee Queen's office, and if I can get access to the airlock doors in her office.
Because there was a giant airlock behind her.
There was a giant airlock behind her. Let us first and foremost figure out if you can actually get into the surveillance network that is on the Cove. How is Levi going to do that?
Well, walking through, did I find a port last time? No, I don't remember. Actually, you know what? I'm going to. They're all getting on the ship, and you turn around and I'm not there. I'm probably going to go find like a fucking access tunnel. Go towards like the Wrecker's Bar. And then like I figured that's like it's all like torn up over there, and it's like probably not as monitored because everything is like an access a little bit. And then finding a place where I can go into like a service tunnel or something like that and be able to like connect to like a mainframe.
So you actually don't want to be seen when you're doing this, right?
No.
This feels like you need to skulk to get to that part of the station before anything else can actually happen.
Okay.
It feels like it. I mean, if you can argue some other way that you're going to get, like, you're going to sway your way through the area or you're going to do something else, I'd love to hear it. But to me, it feels like it needs a roll and potentially, sway is the way to go. Or sorry, skulk is the way to go.
Is it risky?
Argue me for how it wouldn't be risky here, because while you are an ex-wrecker, you did happen to piss off Ren and the pirates in uniforms, the station guards, essentially are aware of you. So if you can argue me away that it's not risky, that you're going to be seen, separating from the crew.
I'm going to say it's risky or desperate. I don't want to say desperate. I feel like it's just risky because if I get seen, I can just turn around and.
Totally. All right, that works for me then.
All right. Limited.
Sure, let's call it limited, but yeah, okay, let's just go with that. That works.
No bonus dice. Well then.
You need to stop rolling those really freaking great dice. Like, it's
gonna
spread it around
when it matters.
All right, so describe to me what it's like when you get all the way back towards the wrecker area and then find yourself, with essentially backstage access to the station.
So basically it's like I'm walking and like normally and all that kind of stuff, and then there's like a minor blind spot, and it's like there's a noodle shop, space noodles, and then there's like a like bootleg store. But like if you walk and like directly, there's like a small little alley, and you can start walking sideways in between them, and you start going that way, and then there's like a little service access hatch that not too many people know about. It got covered up by just shanty stores and all that kind of stuff that have been around here. And so that's and I pop the hatch and I go peek on in.
Okay. So before we describe what happens in the tunnel, Sam, can you add a gambit to the ship sheet for the next job?
Yeah, I did, but it does reset at the beginning of the job, and we have a ton of gambits, so we should just start like spending them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
We're about to go into a new job and reset to 3, and we have 5, so we might as well just spend as many as we can.
How many do you have over the 3?
2 over.
Okay, yeah. So go ahead and use them as you guys need to before the job starts. Okay, so once you get down inside there, the tunnel is a little bit tighter than you were expecting. It's more of an access tunnel of conduits and not necessarily like something that you can stand up like full height. It's like it's like a crawl space almost.
Yeah.
So you're able to kind of slide into there very easily and just kind of, navigate your way to what looks to be some sort of an access panel to what appears to be the network, or a network, essentially a routing like hub right there. So you're able to kind of pull that apart and gain access to it. Now you need to actually see if you can actually get to it. So what kind of a role do you want to do this? Is this going to and how would you approach it? Are you building something to put together that's going to connect, or is this more of just a complete software / kind of a thing?
I'm going to try to build a miniature relay that only sends information to my data pad when I'm on the station. So I imagine this is going to be a rig.
Okay.
So it's kind of like I'm rigging it to, but like, and it's not going to be transmitting all the time. And when it does transmit, it spaces it out. So like, it's not a constant signal. So just in case like anything picks up, because it's going to make it look like it's like a loss of like data or signal that periodically happens, but it like sends off like chunks at a time.
Okay.
So I'm going to rig this up while I'm in the thingamabob.
All right. This seems like a controlled situation right now for you, since you're rigging something. And it's not like you're actively attacking their network. It seems more like it seems like you're going to have a little bit more like finesse and the ability to just kind of do this.
You're trying to like just install like a little pineapple so that like forever after.
Okay.
Like, whoop,
whoop. A standard. Actually, it could be great depending on how well this goes, but
hold on a second.
Depend on their security.
Sam, did you just talk about a Hack 5 pineapple?
Yeah. Yeah, like for like a man in the middle type deal.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I didn't know that you. Okay, yeah, you and I are gonna have to talk, buddy. All right. Yeah,
I'm not that knowledgeable about that stuff, but I know it now.
The fact that you talked about a Hack 5 pineapple, that's really interesting. Anyways, jumping back to you. So yes, controlled works, and you said standard. So this is going to give you all of the surveillance on the station is what you're aiming for then, right?
And access to certain areas.
You mean, okay, so you're talking about actually getting like access to control systems, essentially.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, then that to me seems like great, because this goes beyond just being a sort of like a man in the middle kind of a thing.
Yeah. All right. Ready? Can I spend a gambit?
You sure can.
That's a bonus dice?
It is. Do you want a Devil's Bargain, or you want to push yourself?
No, not right now.
All right. Roll terribly, please. I don't.
It's not bad. It's a 5.
There's a consequence. I'm not sure how to run the consequence yet. Okay, so you start to put this together, and you're in there, and you're kind of like beginning to assemble this contraption. What does this contraption look like that you're rigging together?
Basically, it is a box. A black box that just has like wires sticking out of it. It's not fancy looking, and he's basically just kind of putting the wires together and kind of like hiding it behind a cabling. And then so it's something that like it's more about the components inside, not how it connects. And that's what it is. It's like a little black box, maybe with a red blinking light on top of it.
Okay, so as you're kind of assembling this and putting this together, the video feeds start to come online for you on your display as it starts to flash between the various displays. As you're connecting that last sort of wire that's to connect into the control system, your hand slips a little bit. because you're starting to get the shakes a little bit because you haven't had your fix, whatever your fix is. You're not on enough drugs right now, and so your hand's getting a little sweaty, and that last connection just sort of gets frayed a little bit as you insert it in there, and it's kind of seated there, but you're not 100% sure that you're going to be able to, that it's going to be seated and working correctly. And so you kind of wipe your hands off and you begin to kind of work on it when you hear farther up the conduit some weird sort of like scrambling noise. And it sounds like metal scraping on metal. And then you see, like, way in the distance, you see lights just kind of flashing around, kind of, looking at different sides of the panel, and the conduit, and it's starting to move slowly in your direction.
Okay. Well, it's connected.
But it is connected. You're just not sure if it's seated properly.
How long do I have before this thing gets here?
It's not sure. It's moving slowly, but it is making a lot of noise and is in a constant state of motion heading your direction. There is a risk of being discovered, basically.
Yeah. The thing being discovered?
You being discovered.
Okay. At this time, I would start making my way, unless there's like a quick roll I can do. Like, is there a quick rig roll that I can do?
To try to fix it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's going to be in a desperate.
Okay.
So fuck.
Right, exactly.
All right. Great again. Or this is limited because I'm only trying to seed it.
Yep. You want to use the gambit?
Oh, can I use another gambit?
We got gambits to spend.
Okay.
So.
I use one gambit. Here we go. Oh shit. That's not going well.
All right. So you're able to, your hand kind of just grabs and you kind of strip the wire again, and then you reseat it into the device. You're able to get it, kind of situated in such a way. But just as you get that done, the noise of this thing kind of moving forward, it's some sort of like automated, like robotic unit that's like a maintenance, robot of some kind that's kind of moving through, and its lights continue to move around. And as you kind of slip back to the access point and go out the hatch, you see the light kind of flash in your direction. You're not sure if it saw you or not, but like it definitely was, looking in your direction.
Technically, can I use my hack skill to see if it did?
You want to hack and find out if the robot actually saw you?
Well, I'm getting feeds, right?
You are getting feeds. You are getting the surveillance feeds from the surveillance system in the station.
Okay. Is there any alerts going off?
Nothing that you've seen yet.
Okay. What I do is put everything back together. And is the robot still like it came and saw me leave, or? You're not sure if it saw you leave, but just as you were exiting sort of out the access point of the access hatch of the conduit, you saw the light and sort of flash in your direction, flashing down towards the tube, farther off, down the distance as well. So it's not really clear whether it saw you or not. Okay.
From your perspective.
I'm going to hope for the best and seal it shut. And kind of go out the way and then sneak down the alleyway. And then what I'm going to do is buy some noodles out of the camera view, and then get noodles and then walk down the street. They're like to-go noodles. So they walk down the street eating noodles like I was there eating noodles, and I got extra noodles, and I go back to the ship.
Noodles are good.
Extra noodles.
Extra noodles. That's what I want, and I just go back to the ship for right now.
Okay.
And the ship's gone. Like no one noticed.
Why the fuck is
We somehow lived without the engineer.
Well, the thing is, like, when he gets on the ship, he's always in the engine room, so we never see him.
While Levi is doing all of this, what are the rest of you guys doing?
I'm prepping for this plan. I'm like going through my box of fake IDs and getting like documents together and like maybe like forging some documents as well, like to make sure that we can try to get in through the door and as far as possible without resorting to the old fisticuffs with Fitzy.
Fitzy, on the other hand, has gone to the galley and he has grabbed like a sack of beans, and he has somehow rigged up a sack of beans, and he's just, Rocky Balboa practice scene. Because we don't just have giant slabs of meat hanging around, Johnny. Don't make that face.
Well, I don't know why we would.
We wouldn't have sacks of meat, but we'd have like a sack of beans that's dried goods.
We could also just have like a gym area with like a heavy bag.
I feel like that's not a priority on a smuggler ship.
Maybe not, but I'm just throwing it's like not something you can't just throw in the closet.
No, yeah. So no, I think that's what it is. Like we have food, and he's like, "What can I punch?" And he just grabs like a big sack of beans because beans last forever, even in space. And then he fucking looks and he's just punching beans. That's what you get into. Is him punching beans. Don't make that face, Mimic Logan.
I don't think your science is sound on this.
What do you mean?
Beans last forever?
I mean, dried beans last for a long ass time. You were like, listen, you did name me things. They last on a ship for fucking forever.
I don't think we had a lot of beans on the ship.
Well, you're wrong.
What's naming things?
I'm sure we have some sort of meal something.
Yeah, there has to be a galley in the fucking. You're not just gonna not have any food.
Any ship? There's probably like a small like area where
it's a smuggler's ship, so there's got to be room on it to smuggle things, right?
Yeah. Did we throw out the kitchen because we're like, hey, we need a smuggling compartment?
I mean, I assume we have a kitchen.
I mean, we have to eat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's my argument. And we have to eat beans because they last forever in space. So.
All right, thanks for that, Sally. What are you doing right now?
Well, I made the stuff for Switch. I feel like Sally's just kind of getting her head back in the game. She's trying to figure out how to keep the crew medicated, but maybe not over-medicated, being as she herself was a little over-medicated at the last place. But especially, she knows he's not our space virgin isn't gonna take drugs. Look, it's fine. But she's got to figure out a happy medium between having him super drugged up and working on all the hacking and stuff, and maybe making the drugs a little more useful than just him addicted to Jedi drugs that he probably shouldn't be doing in the first place. So.
Okay.
She's probably fiddling around.
I need to do more.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he wants to do more. She's probably locked up the remainder of that, trying to figure out something that gets him like enough of the high without making him feel like a space Jedi.
Okay. So Levi, you arrive back into all of this, and the surveillance video continues to kind of, present itself to you. Switch the IDs and stuff that you're kind of navigating through, or you're trying to pull apart and like put back together and stuff, like all of that. Is this something that Levi's aware of, or is this like new? This is stuff before the time of like your business relationship with him?
I mean, I'm sure like this collection of shit goes back a really long time. And like, I think like some of it is like digital, some of it is like physical, but it's like a lot of like, a copy of X bureaucratic document that he got his hands on at some point and like saved so that he can like edit the names and stuff. It's like some a deed to X, Y, and Z that he's doctored up to make look a certain way. So maybe like some various different forms of identification or like licenses for like different stuff that it says, maybe there's like an electrician's license in there, that kind of thing. Like just like little things that might help him run a con.
Okay. All right. Before I'm feeling like with everything that you guys are doing and getting prepared to leaving the cove, I feel like really the next step in the story is going to be to jump to the actual job itself. So I guess in the intervening like couple of days that it would take in travel time for you guys to get to the stray light in its current position based on what Rin gave to you all. Is there anything else that seems to make sense that you would want to do? Like, is there any like investigation, any type of information gathering whatsoever, or are you just guys are you going in cold on this?
Oh, actually, I do think I would do research on the stray light and like see if I can get any good tips or leads on good ways into the door. Kind of basically, Switch is looking for a lead on like a talky, less violent way to get this job started. Whether that's a contact, he may know somebody from way back who works the door. It could be that he finds out something about the stray light's books, and so he can pretend to be some kind of inspector. Maybe it's that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
John,
Okay. Yes.
Is it common knowledge who owns the stray light?
Yes. It's a proprietor by the name of Chance.
Oh, so it's not like a big organization that owns it, just a dude named Chance.
It's not clear who he's backed by, but yeah, the proprietor of the place is a slick ex-gambler by the name of Chance.
Okay. Well-placed name.
Yeah, well, that's what the book gave me.
All right, well.
So as what kind of a role do you think that is, Switch?
I was thinking study or consort.
Okay. And tell me about the approach in either of those. Because what I'm trying to figure out is how to determine whether there is actually any element of risk in what you're trying to do.
I mean, I could see that there might not be like a huge amount of risk, and if you want it to just like not be a role, that's reasonable. But I mean, he's definitely like if somebody was really looking into Switch's activity, they might be able to like know that he's been looking into the stray light, and anyone who knows Switch enough to bother looking into that would probably have a pretty good idea of why. He's trying to pull some kind of job on them.
Totally. So to me, that feels more like a consort than a study.
Cool. Yeah, that works.
It does seem at least risky.
Yeah. Let's do a consort. Since we're still getting started here, I will spend the gambit.
Okay.
Why not? All right. And you said risky, right?
Yep.
Standard effect?
Sure. Yeah. I don't feel like there's any reason why it would be either, the other ones.
All right. One bonus die. Boom. Nice.
All right.
There you go.
Establish some precedents here for me. Tell me what you find.
So I think based on it being a consort role, maybe Switch knows it, like through his like web of contacts, he like learns who Chance like owes favors and money to. And so then that way he can like basically either disguise himself as some way affiliated with that group or like here on behalf of that group, etc. I think that's probably the angle he would take.
Okay. Any idea who you'd like to have the marker on him?
That is a great question. I really don't off the top of my head. I can try to find a faction in the little book here. Unless you got one.
Well, there's a couple of different ones that might make sense. Janus Syndicate or possibly even the Bornico Syndicate. So why don't you go ahead and think about that and we'll come back to that in just a second.
Cool.
So the rest of you are don't want to do anything else before we actually get to the engagement roll on this.
I do.
Would you like to do?
I want to study the schematics
of the stray light.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well then, great. Let's give me a study roll.
And we haven't started the thingamabob yet.
We have not started the job yet.
Okay, I'm going to spend a gambit on this. This is controlled because I have time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You've got a couple days time.
Standard. And then
sure.
Gambit. I'm not going to do a devil's bargain on this one. 4 and a 1.
Okay. Tell me what area you were focusing on most when looking at this, because there's a couple of different things, right? You could get just to get a general lay of the land. Maybe you wanted to look at the environmental systems. Maybe you wanted to look about, entry and exit. For anybody like in the sort of like in the locations where there's going to be like any type of life forms. Or maybe it's like you wanted to look at the structural integrity or how this thing is propulsion or whatever. Where was Levi's focus?
So it's a job and we have to get in, save someone, and get out. So the things he would look for are ingress and egress.
Okay.
And then data ports, because that's what's important to him. And then kind of get, we don't know where the individual's held, and that's why we'll probably need a data port like right off the bat, so we can start going through security feeds and like locating them and then finding the best route on that. I don't know how many floors this thing is, or if we have general access just showing up, like, or do we have to stealth our way in? That's a few things I don't know. So it depends on, I guess, those things, but yeah.
So here's what you get. Here's some general information that you get about the stray light, just kind of looking at it. It is a multi-level sort of large. It would be described, if it was stationary, it would be described as a space station because it looks more like a space station than it does like a ship. It's not meant for atmospheric entry at all. Mm-hmm. The thing is it moves like a ship, so it's basically, think about it like almost like a floating like building or even like a Borg cube kind of a thing. It's not meant in any way, shape, or form to be, it doesn't have a need to be aerodynamic, so its design is very different. It's definitely multi-level. In fact, to your understanding, it's like a small like business office kind of the situation. It's like 6 or 7 levels based on what you can see, whether you're looking at engineering, or you're looking at the command deck, or you're looking at the hospitality areas, or the sort of the private sort of backside of this thing. The stray light has some interesting features about it, is in that it's got both a docking bay and it's got some exterior like docking hatches. The way that it works, though, is that anybody who wants to visit the place while it's in transit, this is the information that you get from Ren as you're kind of going through and looking at all this documentation, mm-hmm. Is that when it's in transit, the ships actually dock inside of it, drop off their their passengers, and then the ships are synced either to autopilot or whatever. If there's an extended crew that actually is on the ship, they all fly sort of in formation around the stray light. So, for example, at any given time, there might be 10 or 15 different ships, either sort of like in the vicinity of it, or attempting to dock and kind of go back and forth out of it. You're not sure how many of these ships are actually synced to the sort of the autopilot system, and how many ships are actually crewed. But according to the documentation, the autopilot system is able to slave and sync 20 different ships essentially to its sort of piloting and navigation system.
Mm-hmm. And do we know how fast it's going through while in transit?
It's a slow burn kind of a thing, right? Ships, are coming in and kind of moving back and forth. Where it takes you, maybe it takes you a couple days to go between planets. This thing takes an extended period of time, sometimes up to, 2 weeks, depending upon the distance between, any planets in the system.
So it's like a cruise ship.
To some degree, yes, but it's a much smaller sort of contained, unit.
Okay.
It's designed in such a way that it's almost like a pleasure yacht of some kind, more than it is like a large scale cruise ship. You see that the capacity for the place, the serving capacity for the place, is something like under 200 people or 200 beings.
Okay.
So Jody, I'm gonna go with the Janus Syndicate because that way we can pretend to be weapons dealers and try to be like, hey, we need private space. Give us a space to do our deal. That's the angle I'm gonna go for.
The Janus Syndicate. Okay. All right. One final thing for that information for Levi. As you're kind of like digging through and kind of pulling it, there's something really odd about the maintenance records on the ship, or on the stray light. It gets worked on way more often than any other ship you've ever seen. Like it's really unusual, like the amount of time that it actually spends in dock getting repaired on or worked on. And that kind of catches you, a little off guard.
Is there any way I can retrieve those records?
Yes, with a bit of time, you possibly could.
Okay. After I probably spend maybe part of a day looking at the map, because I imagine I gleaned all that fairly quick.
Mm-hmm.
By fairly quick, maybe half a day, studying it and finding did I find any data ports where I could probably link into?
Right. So there's definitely there is a wireless network on the ship, mm-hmm. And there are definitely hardwired ports behind the scenes. There's nothing necessarily in sort of the hospitality portion of the ship.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just marking down where they'd be at, and then kind of putting them to memory, and then having some remember drugs on me, and then so I can when we're doing the job, finding I figure my job would be find once we're in there, kind of sneak off and then do a thing. Go find a data port and find information or something like that. Or if I could do it wirelessly, that's a thing, but he'd rather be hardwired in because I figure I get more information a lot quicker. And then I guess the part of the day, depending, I would try to hack. There's two things I want to do. I want to rig something, but I forgot what I wanted to rig. The hack. Hack the maintenance records and see why they're getting maintenance so much.
Okay. Perfect. So we're gonna cut from you and go. I'm gonna ask a couple quick questions to both Fitzy and no, we are not in downtime. Just to answer that question, you're in information gathering. This is sort of this is free play information gathering before the actual job itself. Does Fitzy or Sally want to try to do anything, or is this even on their radar as being worthwhile, given that this really has nothing to do with Earth technology specifically?
For Fitzy, it's cut and dry. He's gonna punch his way in and punch his way out. We gotta rescue a guy. That's it. There's no. It's someone else's job to find the guy.
Yeah, Sally already carries around 2 med kits. The only thing I would see her doing on the trip over there is trying to make this truth serum. That way they could get more information at various points. So I would like to roll to make one attempt at this drug. And this will be like an ongoing project when there's travel time for her.
Right. Well, we can treat that as a downtime project kind of a thing, right?
Yeah. Let's go ahead
and have you make since this really kind of falls into the acquisition of an asset. But yeah, let's go ahead and have you make a roll for that. You're gonna use doctor? Is that what you're?
Yeah. Let's go. I was thinking doctor or study.
Okay, that works too.
We'll do doctor. I have the same amount of points in both, so it doesn't really matter yet. I'd say it's controlled effect standard. It's nothing really crazy going on right now.
Yes.
Alrighty, 1 and a 5.
Okay. So as you're kind of mixing this stuff up, let me ask you this: when Sally's working on something new, is it like a eureka moment for her, or is it just trial and error until she gets it right?
I think she's very good at figuring out pathways to answers, but there's still trial and error within the chemistry, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Then as you're kind of you're putting this all together, the color looks right, the smell looks right, the chemical composition based on what your tool for analysis looks right, but there's that itch of a doubt right in the back of your head about whether this is actually
something's missing. Yeah.
Right. It's like the first time you made the remember drug for Levi. Not quite there, but you're not quite sure it's there, so it's definitely going to require a test. But there's something that's like kind of scratching the back of your mind about that. Okay, one final I guess information gathering roll, and then we'll get to the engagement roll for this. So Levi, this is you hacking to get the maintenance records, right?
Yeah. There we go. Still controlled, I think, because I'm not rushed to do this.
Not at all.
Would the information be standard or great?
I think the information is going to be standard, if not limited, given the circumstance that you're looking for one specific ship in the entry logs for the system.
Can I use a gambit? Do we have any gambits left?
I think you do. I think you have 1 gambit left, right, Switch?
1 left.
1 left? Okay. Are we doing anything else, or are we going right into the job after this?
We're going right into the job, I believe.
Okay, so let's use our last gambit, and then we'll reset to 3, if I got that correct.
Correct.
Okay. Here we go. Shit.
Ooh.
I actually like this roll. I like this roll a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you start looking into the information, and you essentially start to pull records from the interplanetary sort of like network that is run along the Ren system, looking for maintenance records at various sort of dry docks or docks, and spaceports where there's repairs going on. As you start pulling this information, you start seeing little hints that you're being tracked. every time you get a little bit closer to the information, it becomes a little bit more obvious that you're being tracked, and you're getting hits of like somebody's peeing back to you, basically. You know, you're looking for your location.
Okay, I would stop at that point.
So before you actually finish, you're able to kind of cut the connection completely. You get a ping back essentially, and it's something that basically forces the Glory to actually respond with its location, but it's not like a detailed log of their location. It's the general vicinity, like the general area inside of the system that you guys are passing through in order to meet with the stray light.
Where's the stray light again?
Stray light is moving between a leaf, and it's moving to another location. Both Rin and Alonda did not have that information for you. They didn't know where it was headed next.
Can I trace the ping to see where it goes?
No, because with that roll, and based on the way that your last roll went, so there was a consequence that was going to be coming off of your last roll, your study roll. And it with that coupled with this, the signal just you realize that if you fire up and try to actually do any type of other network activity, that you're going to ping back. You're going to have to spend some time and actually work on the system, or on the Glory system, to kind of make sure that it isn't bugged, or it isn't like have like a transponder, like a software transponder that's going to report back.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that for the rest of the time before the job, I would be combing through the ship, then looking for that.
All right, excellent. So now let's talk about the job and the engagement role. So, guys, what type of a plan is this?
Don't we have to choose load first, or does that happen after?
That happens after.
Okay.
So there are different types of plans. I think we're 7 episodes in, and this is really the first or second time we've done this. Like,
done this properly.
Where it hasn't worked out that we've needed to do it's just like you guys move into a job automatically based on the way that the gameplay was going. This is the first time you guys are actually entering a job in the official capacity. So there's a couple of different ways, a couple of different planning options, and then based on the planning options, we get to the detail. So we've got assault, deception, infiltration, mystic, social, or transport. What general description does this job imply?
I mean, I'm gonna mystically punch my way into the ship. So
well,
does that not cut it?
Here's
infiltration, right?
I was thinking deception or infiltration sounded.
Aren't they both the same?
Nope.
Okay. Well, the one thing that I was going to suggest is that if the ship is not moving that fast and there's just like an autopilot, technically, now this might sound crazy, but we could put in spacesuits, hack into the autopilot system and just join everything, get on spacesuits, and then be able to use the spacesuits. I don't know if they have little jets to get to one of the outer hatches and be able to hack into that and open it and then infiltrate that way. That's a suggestion, but it may be super crazy, but we would have to get the guy out the same way, and so we would have to get him in a spacesuit.
I'm fine with going that direction. I mean, the idea behind this is we don't need to overtalk it. I think if we go infiltration, that seems like a totally valid route. My idea was kind of just lie our way through the front with faking the Janus Syndicate thing. But I think that works just as well for me.
I mean, either or, whatever you guys want to do. I mean, if we want to do the lying and doing the Janus Syndicate thing, I think it'd be funny for RP wise.
What if we try to lie our way in, and then the plan is we use that hatch as the way out if we need to?
Okay, so we bring spacesuits with us.
Well, so because the thing is, you just can mark gear on your sheet, right? So we would basically just need to plan that everybody. I'm pretty sure every playbook has a spaceship for two load. 2 load, right? So you just basically, if we're gonna take that way out, we just all need to make sure that before we get to the exit, we all have 2 load left to spend.
Okay, how much do we have to have in a load?
So we choose our load going into the mission. You can take light, which gives you 3, normal, which gives you 5, or heavy, which gives you 6.
Okay. What's the benefit or the cons of having a heavy load?
You get to carry more shit.
Yeah, it just means you're narratively carrying a bunch of shit, and that has implications. So, like, sneaking becomes harder. If somebody sees you, they notice that you have a bunch of shit on you.
Yeah. It's low profile versus high profile. So yeah, I think the planning is that we are doing infiltration, and the entry point is the club.
Okay. So we all bring spacesuits.
Yeah.
So infiltration is interesting because according to with the description that it reads is trespass unseen, so that you guys are actually going to try to be completely like unnoticeable as you're walking in the front door.
Well, if we're doing the club plan, it's deception because we're trying to lie our way in. But if we're doing Levi's plan, that would be infiltration.
Yeah, you're right. So deception.
Okay. All right. So deception. The question is the method of deception, and it sounds like the method is, or the detail that you guys are applying is that you're going to come in presenting yourself as Janus Syndicate. Okay. All right.
Here's another option. If you guys want to do deception, could Levi do the space thing and find a hatch, open it, and then look for a data port, and then relay the information of where the guy is at to them?
That makes that. I mean, yeah, we can split the group, and like basically the reason why it's still the plan is deception is because like that's still how we're like getting in the door and distracting them from you doing your thing. That totally works for me.
Okay.
So it sounds like Switch, Fitzy, and Sally are going in the front, and then Levi's going to be sneaky.
Okay. All right. All right. So you got the detail. You got your item loadout. Right. That's what we're talking about now. What's everybody's general item loadout? Light, medium, or heavy?
I'm medium or normal. Do I need a spacesuit? I missed the part of whether I needed a spacesuit or not.
I think we all do.
So hold on. To be clear, you don't mark items until you need them in play, right? So you're just choosing how much, and you're just going to want to make sure you have 2 dots left to spend on a spacesuit if you need it.
Do you need both dots for the spacesuit?
Yeah, so if something has 2 dots, that means you need like 2 mark of your load to have it.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
And if it's in italics, it doesn't cost anything.
Right. I'm just trying to decide if I'm only bringing 1 med kit or if I'm leaving my candies and treats, because I need to count my gun as something that I've been carrying around.
You can also just hold off and just decide in the moment, right? Where it's like, if you need the gun, you have the gun. If you need the second med kit, you have it.
Right. So there's an element of that he's alluding to, which is the flashback mechanic, which is at any time, the reason that we start in the action for you guys with the engagement role is like, it just gets us right into the meat of the story. If you forget something or you realize you could use something better in the moment, flashback mechanic is your friend, but it doesn't give you a lot of stress. I mean, it's like a ton of stress comes into that whole like sort of situation. But it is, you don't worry about what you need to bring so much. Just the item loadout really kind of works just as a general like guide of, what you're starting with, but anything else can definitely be grabbed through the flashback mechanic.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not like you hit your 5 and then choose your 5 items from the list. It's like you can 5 times during the game, you can be like, I have X item.
Okay.
From your list.
All right. So here's my loadout that I'm taking with us. I got hacking tools, spy gear.
Okay. All right. So
you don't need to do that. You select the number 3, 5, or 6, and then during the course of the score, you decide, I'm spending one of my load on having hacking gear. I'm spending one of my load on having this, as it is needed.
I have to do spacesuit because I'm going to be in space and have the suit on.
Yeah, that's why I was figuring it out ahead of time. I get where he's at.
Yeah.
Because that means I have, regardless, I have to bring one less med kit. So I'm going risky on that, being as none of us have been hurt yet so far.
Yeah, I wouldn't overthink it. That, like, really the whole point of this game is it's meant to just like go, and then like you can decide things in the moment. So I would not try to overthink it too much.
Yeah, because you might not need any med kits if we don't get hurt, right? If you never roll med kit stuff.
I'm just gonna go normal load.
I'm also going normal.
Yeah, I don't feel like.
So since I'm trying to sneak, do I want to be light?
It will have an impact, but at the same time, also consider the situation that you're in. If you're going to be in space, your type of sneaking is going to be very different than if you're moving through atmosphere and you need to not make noise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there is an element of that, like, that consideration. Maybe you don't want to be as bulky or have as much weight because it's much harder for the propulsion system on the spacesuit to that helps you navigate around. Maybe you have much greater control if you're lighter, right? So there's that.
Yeah, I don't ever want Sally to have a heavy loadout because she is tiny.
All right, so I think we have our load size.
I think I might go heavy.
Do it.
Do it.
Okay. You see Levi's just putting on all this shit, and he's like, "Oh, let's get going. I'm fucking ready."
Sally makes a note, try to figure out how to make him lighter, and then just throws it under.
Drugs that give him hollow bones.
Yeah, I think Switch has got like this like nice like business attire going on under his fine long coat. He's probably got like a little vest action. He's looking. When you see his look, it makes sense that he would be like a weapons dealer kind of business guy.
Fitzy doesn't. He looks like a priest.
Nice, as always.
Yeah.
Virgin.
Weird, you keep saying that. Yeah, he has like priestly vestments on. He has an exposed like religious symbologies and that kind of thing. But yeah.
Sally would just have her big jacket. It's not terrible looking, but it's not like super fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Does she have her gun out?
I
around.
think she has added a pocket to her jacket for the gun for this particular mission.
Nice.
Because
hey everyone,
she hears the word prison and she goes so the jacket is, yeah, like I said, it's like a mid-grade type deal. It's not like super fancy, but it would have pockets for all of her syringes, candy, and now syringe gun.
I like it. All right
guys, if nothing else, it is time for the engagement roll. This is actually something really fun. So the way this works is very simple. You get 1d6 to start. You're going to argue all the advantages that you have in this situation. And each of those advantages that we all agree upon are going to give you an additional die to a maximum of 6, I think is what the game specifies. This is something we didn't do previously when we played Blades in the Dark on Mike's channel. 6 is the max at this point. Also, nobody can say for love. You can't say give me a bonus die for love. All right, that is off the table.
No longer works. Okay, cool.
No longer works. Okay, and then we're going to talk about disadvantages that will remove bonus die or the additional dice that go to this particular roll, and then with the final roll, you'll do it, and it will determine the result based on the as we would normally, and that will establish the starting situation for you guys based on the detail. So, 1d6 starting, guys.
So
What's
1d6 to start. We have the layout. We have the switches contact. Right, that's the thing. The prisoner is.
Wait.
It's
Switches
not a contact. It's just like I knew that they have ties to the Janus Syndicate and like the Janus Syndicate.
Right.
You know the chance owes to the Janus Syndicate.
Right. So whatever unknown, previously unknown information, I guess. Right. That's what makes the lie more authentic. The dude we're rescuing knows we're coming for him. That's all I got.
Also, Levi's secret mission of Housemark Clef, so he's more determined to complete this.
I don't think that counts. That doesn't help all of us.
It does. It does by proxy.
I don't think it does. I don't think it does mechanically.
So there is an element of this. There's an element of risk for this, right? And Stev is still out there causing shenanigans and tomfoolery for you guys. So there is an element of like him actually being really serious about taking care of this. But I still feel like there's more that needs to back that argument.
Basically, why Levi wants to get this job completed, because if he does good for the Starless Veil, he can get better tech and then maybe a better ship and then slowly start raking his way up. This is like kind of long-term stuff. But like, I think for him right now, this is like proving himself. And then like, but he knows he can't do it alone. He needs his crew. Or the crew, everyone on the ship to help him along. And that's why he's doing the crazy harebrained thing of flying all the way to the hatch in a spacesuit and not doing any of the talking, but getting them the info and relaying it to them, and then working that way.
Okay. Did he convince anybody else?
I don't know, man. That's a hard. Like, I get it. Like, it's motivation for your character, but that doesn't. Like, the fact that you already found the layout and that you're waiting there is already factored into one of the previous ones. I don't think it helps us doubly. Personally,
let me think.
I'm kind of with Mike on it.
Personally, yeah. Like, it's for sure your own motivation, but you being at the back door doesn't help us with the mission. It helps us, I guess, at the end. But your plans, like the blueprints that you found, is already one of the extra dice for us.
Sally?
I don't know that Sally likes to weigh in on these sort of things.
Yeah, I don't think we have anything else.
Remembering drug.
Sally's still trying to decide what kind of drugs to slip in his pocket before they get off of there.
No, remembering drug is one he said though.
Yeah, she's gonna give you the memory drug, and maybe there's one that'll get you like slightly high, but not like blasted Jedi high. So maybe one of the greens or something.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's too many unknowns about Straylite, right? Like, we know the guy who owns it, but we don't know anything about him or like what factions he's tied to. So like, I don't think anything that we know helps us get through more than what we already have, which is a way in, a way around, and we're expected, plus the free dice.
Plus the free dice.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else that helps us be more efficient.
4 dice is a lot. We're in good shape.
I mean, we still gotta go with the negatives.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I'm covered in space ghosts is a negative. I don't think that's actually a negative. He hasn't fucked me yet at all. It's just a minor inconvenience for myself.
Did you really just say that to me?
That I'm covered in space ghosts? He hasn't yet. So let me try that again. He hasn't fucked with us yet. Therefore, he's not a negative for this mission. That could be a wild card that just happens, but it doesn't take away.
We're so fucked now.
Oh God.
We were fucked before. Every roll I've made, Jerry, has been with a devil's bargain. So, you know, I don't know any negatives other than like the great unknown. But that doesn't really. Your pinging is. That's that's right. That's what. Yep.
It was because it was when I was looking up information about the Straylay and its maintenance. I figured that one would be a negative.
So we're being expected. Takes away another one.
Yep.
We're being
I don't
expected
know
in
if
a
we're
negative
being
way.
expected or if someone is trying to figure out where we're going.
Yeah, we're being looked for, I think is a minus.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else that we've done that would cause a negative. So unless there's some behind the scenes chicanery that you got going on.
All right. I'm gonna point out one other negative that I can think of right off the top of my head. Levi was really focused on the maintenance records, and he was focused on essentially all the information gathering about the location itself.
Sure.
Switch was focused on finding out as much as he possibly could and what angle was going to work for you guys to actually get in there, based on chances, sort of history as a gambler and who he might actually owe for helping him acquire or run the stray light. You guys didn't do any information gathering about who possibly else could be there. Like this is the place to be, and because it possibly, you're not sure if it's network or not, but you guys didn't even actually try to figure out if there's like any type of sort of register of like who's actually there, including all of the ships that might potentially be either docked or slaved with this thing.
All right, yeah, seems reasonable.
Okay, I can see that one. I mean, it's like a pleasure cruise, right? So I would assume everyone's here is my default assumption. But yeah, I can see why. Like, it could be a very specific bad guy ship.
Thanks, Fitzy, for punching beans.
Listen, what was I gonna do? Hack the magical space dust and find out what ships were on the.
No. Hacking the space dust was actually Sally's job.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let's be completely clear about this. She dropped the ball too.
That's fine. Damn it, Sally.
Not like she was like selling into any nefarious like cults or anything.
Right? Rude.
It's fine.
It's
a problem ever.
Yeah, you're fine. It's fine. You're fine. Everybody's fine. All right, guys. So to me, that sounds like 2 dice.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Who would like to do the fortune roll?
I'll do it.
Or sorry, the engagement roll.
Same thing.
Do it.
I'll
Same
do
difference.
it. Fortune roll, number of dice, 2. Six.
Fuck.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Suck it was the message I left for you. And now we're gonna get hit with space ghosts.
You'll be in the middle of talking and just boom.
Just like 36 space ghosts come out of my head.
37.
Sorry. One's on the ship.
So technically it was 37 before you guys entered the cove. Can you imagine what it's like now?
Shut up, Johnny, with your fucking space ghost bullshit.
Oh boy.
All right. So I would like to start. So we're gonna do the approach and everything else, and we're gonna narrate ourselves into the middle of the action. So I actually want to start with Levi. Your approach is you're going to actually exit the ship before it docks and try to connect on the backside of the stray light. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Can you narrate us what that looks like when Levi takes that jump? What's going through his head? What drugs he prepares with, and get us to the point where you find yourself on that back docking hatch?
So he would have gotten some blues from Sally. The blues help keep his nerves calm and like the adrenaline not go crazy. So he's like, it's very much like a calming drug, but he's like, oh, fucking great. This fucking rose. And then, but basically how it goes is that the glory hole 2 is coming in, and when there's a certain point where Switch has to guide the ship where it's matched speed with the stray light, and that's the moment where I jump off, like release the mag boots and jump off, and then go faster than the ship, and then they break off to follow the docking formation. And I don't go past a certain speed, but I go faster than what the ship can do, and I glide towards that direction to the stray light, and get to one of the back's access hatches or airlocks.
Okay, so as you're kind of making your way towards there, as you're kind of jumping off, as the Glory is just kind of like moving into the docking pattern, something strikes you as a little interesting as you're kind of taking in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
There's more than 20 ships, either docked or slaved or whatever, flying in formation with the stray light. It's more like 30 ships, and some of them look like combat fighters that are designed to support or protect some of the other ships. There's a couple of them that have like two combat fighters flying side by side with them, just sort of like docked in formation, right? And so like there's 30 ships, and then there's like 2 or 3 of them that have that as well. That strikes you as a little odd as you're coming in, as you finally arrive back on the backside of it. You punch in the code that's going to allow you, and you're able to cycle through and gain access into the backside of the airlock.
Mm-hmm.
And the airlock closes behind you. You're now in Atmo as the airlock cycles, and you find yourself basically backstage towards the stray light.
Okay.
Let's cut to Fitzy, Sally, and Switch. Navigate us as the ship is approaching, docking, and then arriving essentially at the stray light.
Yeah. So I think, as we're like getting off, Switch will be like, "All right, so Fitzy, you're not gonna punch anyone until we get the guy, right?"
Listen, if someone is needing of a punch in the face, I'm gonna punch him in the face. It's a club. Someone spills a drink on me. That's only fair to game. Suck him one right in the teeth.
I'll knock him out if he's being antsy.
I'm already sure this is going to go terrible. Hey, good to meet you. This is like as he's like they're getting to the front of the line.
I don't understand. Don't show me disrespect. I want to punch you.
He's just like
punch the captain in the mouth.
I'm not sure I know you. I know Joey. He's he may not work here anymore. Doesn't matter. I'm a friend of Chance's, and I think he like slips the guy like maybe I don't know, some sort of like insignia or something, some way of like marking the syndicate, and he's like I happen to be in the area. Heard that this might be a safe place to hang out, maybe meet some friends, talk a little business. Can you let me and my friends in?
Tell me what it is that the Janus Syndicate uses as sort of their way of like flagging like their business card, or their like what is it for them that acknowledges who they are?
Good question here. So they're like big on ship weapons, and they are sector-wide affairs. Yeah, you know what? Like these guys strike me as the kind of like sleazeballs who try to pretend that they're very like on the up and up business wise. So I think they actually like have business cards. They're just like very like edgy, like they're the kind of business cards that you would expect from that like get handed out by low-key gangsters, right? And so like it's probably what would the name that Switch has be here? It's probably let's go with Nigel Thorne.
I'll be something. No.
Yeah, and yeah, so it's like this black business card. It's probably I don't know if you guys have ever seen this, but like some people these days have these like or it was like a thing for a while where people would have like the like slightly metallic business cards.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably like one of those. It's got like a splash of red that looks a little bit like blood. And I don't think it has like any like actual numbers or anything. It's just like a card that would like get you into contact with a person.
So it's essentially what they refer to as like a calling card or whatever.
Yeah,
Whenever
exactly.
like a traditional situation. Quick question about that. I love the affectation, the sort of the decoration and everything about this. Is it slightly metallic, or is it like pretend slightly metallic?
I think it's like actually metallic, but it's like metallic in a way that it is like annoying because you don't want to put it in your wallet because you know it's just gonna like fuck up your credit cards. You know what I mean? It's like well, now what do I do with this? It's not a business card. It's just a piece of metal.
So it's like those credit cards that are actually made of like steel that some companies do that are really annoying and don't fit in your wallet. Oh, okay.
100%.
Right. You're that dick. Okay, fair enough.
Because the syndicate they want you to know that their card is in your pocket.
Gross. I hate that.
All right. So the guy at the line as you're like disembarking and you're the ship just kind of wait. I have a question because the way this scene is going to go is going to be really interesting, especially for Levi. Are you guys allowing the glory to be synced to the autopilot system?
If we don't, then we would just get left behind, wouldn't we?
Well, I mean, the question is if was that the thing I wanted to rig? Oh fuck! Well, it's too late now.
That's what flashbacks are for.
I flashback, and what I wanted to rig is something that will hack into the autopilot system and always correct to where it's going, and like kind of guide the ship that way. So it's not actually connecting to the autopilot system, but it's connecting to the ship and controlling it, and there would be a kill switch for it.
So every few minutes, it pulls the ship's nav data, and then our ship autopilots using that nav data.
Yeah.
But it never actually connects to the actual system before that happens.
Relay does, but it has a kill switch, so it can get knocked out.
Okay, so take the 2 stress.
Okay.
Let's have you make a rig roll or a hack roll, depending upon whether this is more software based or hardware based.
Hardware based, because I have to have it where it can be killed.
Okay, let's definitely have you. Let's have you definitely do a
is
rig
this
roll.
Desperate now?
No, but this is clearly risky, and it's going to earn you a gambit if it succeeds.
Limited or standard?
Got it.
Limited? It's one very specific thing.
Okay. Yeah, let's call it limited then. All right. I was going to argue that standard might be a possibility, given the fact that it might, if it was standard, it could not only have an effect on your ship, but also maybe you could reverse the telemetry for the stray light. Like it's a system where it's like almost like a two-way kind of a thing. You can almost affect where the stray light is going.
But you got to keep in mind this is a flashback, so he did this on our ship before we got here.
Right, exactly. But he's still rigging something that is actually going to connect to the stray light at this point. So there is that possibility as well.
Yeah, I'll keep it limited.
All right, good.
I don't have any extra dice to add to this, so
you could use a gambit if you want to, or you could take some more stress, or you could do a devil's bargain or push yourself.
No, I'm just gonna do the 2 dice.
Okay.
All right. 4 and 4.
Okay. You hastily do this, but it absolutely works, and you get a signal that the stray light is actually broadcasting out for this particular piece of information, and you're able to prevent it from being a full slave to the system, but just taking the coordinates data, and then the glory will operate as an independent unit in all of that.
Mm-hmm.
as at the last second, you realize that, oh shit, you might want to actually code something in that actually is a responder so that it mimics the same type of like thing to respond to. But you only hastily like code that together. You're not really sure that it's actually going to work or not, because that just at that moment, just as you're hastily getting that last second thing going on, you realize, oh shit, I got to put my suit on and get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not clear whether it's working or not, but you think it's working.
Okay.
Welcome to the glory. Not sure it's working or not.
It's working.
Why do you think it's working?
We think it's working. It might be working. Yeah. All right. So, with that, so as you're kind of talking to it, the glory just kind of lifts up and automatically, based on its autopilot system, kind of moves out and begins to navigate its way, into the formation. That is the formation of ships around the stray light. And right, say what?
I said it's like auto valet.
It's basically auto valet, but then it like puts it into a park, sort of a stationary sort of parked orbit kind of a thing. But as you hear that happening, the guy kind of looks at your card and says, Janus Syndicate. Janus didn't say, hold on a second. And he starts.
It's on the schedule. Don't worry about the schedule. Like I said, I had a last minute thing. I figured he might be able to make room for me. If you're not, I can tell my boys that we gotta go elsewhere. I mean, look, it would delay the deal. It would make things take a little longer, but you see,
he's holding his hand to his ear as if he's like listening to something as he said, yeah, all right. And he said, why don't you guys go ahead and go on in? There'll be a table for you. See the maitre d'. He'll get you guys set up with a nice booth. Are the three of you here to see Chance, or is it just you, sir?
Oh no, we're not here to see Chance. Like I said, I was just looking for a place to meet some people. These two are with me. I'm happy to talk to him if he wants to come to the table. I appreciate the help.
Okay. Well, there's a standing a set of instructions for anybody from Janus to actually be connected with Chance as soon as possible. It's a handshaking meet and greet kind of a thing.
I totally understand.
Yeah,
look,
VIP stuff. So
I get where you're coming from. You're just doing your job. We'll take care of it from here. I appreciate your work tonight. You take care of yourself.
Okay. And he kind of waves you, through the doorway to an elevator. And the elevator kind of takes you up to 2 levels essentially. It's a real slow elevator. It's in a ship. It seems a little off and odd, but as it kind of opens up, why don't one of you kind of describe to us what the main area of the stray light is? Who wants to take that on?
Is this the club of the stray light?
This is the club. This is the nightclub, and this is the sort of the public sort of like hospitality area. This is where everybody gets to go. This isn't like a VIP section.
I think we can all agree that the first thing we hear is. As Max Rebo and the band are playing. There's a tiny blue elephant in the corner doing his thing.
That was the Bith band, guys. That was not Max Rebo.
Oh, yeah. You're right. It wasn't Max Rebo. He does Jedi rocks. I feel like it's more like if we're using Star Wars as a reference point here, Rogue One, when they go to like the rich hoity-toity place, I think it's like that, but meets like an actual club, right? That was Rogue One, right?
No, I think that was The Last Jedi. It was the casino.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the casino. But like it's also like dark and like black lights, so it's casino meets strip club. Is the setting I'm getting here. So it's a little swanky, a little upscale. The lights are neons. It's darker in here. The drinks glow for some reason. All kinds of other stuff like that.
I'm sorry, I forgot. In Star Wars, the type of music is called jizz.
Yep.
Yeah, jizz music.
Yeah. It's a hot jizz band.
Super hunches, man.
Oh my god! All right, so you hear the music. Describe to me the general setting. It's very much like a sort of it's the dark sort of.
Yeah, it's like an upscale gentleman's club, right? Like that's the vibe. And like all the some of the drinks glow, like they're all like fluorescent kind of colors. The lighting is fluorescent colors. There's like private booths, just open floor seating. The tables have like light strips around the rim of the tables, right? There's live entertainment. There's like bands. I'm sure there's dancing aliens in places, right? Like either in like a cage, 'cause it's a club at the end of the day. Like they're like doing like go-go dance kind of thing. And then it's loud space techno. Specno.
And so this vaguely humanoid Xeno walks up to the three of you as you're kind of making your way out of the door, and it kind of reaches out its hand, and its hand is like sort of, it's got 4 appendages, not 5 and not 3. It's got 4 appendages, and they're all sort of tentacly like, but otherwise there's a vague sort of like like a human-esque kind of a appearance to this creature, and he walks up and he's like, "Hi, I'm the maitre d'. How may I help you?"
Hey there. I was told we would get some sort of table with Janice. Chance said he wanted a meet and greet, and then we're gonna go, see the club. I got some folks to talk to. My friends here. They've never been here before. They're very impressed. Sally, what do you think about the place?
So cool. Like she might be slightly high looking at the lights.
I think while the guy like turns to like look at you respond and like switches just like over his shoulders like, good job.
She's just trying not to like space out at the lights too much, but is a bit.
So he looks at the three of you and says, "Oh, the Janus Syndicate. We have so many VIPs. I'm not." And he reaches his tentacle up, his tentacled hands up, can kind of like rub his like bald scalp. I don't know where I'm going to put you. And he waves his other tentacled hand, and this young human female server kind of walks up, and he whispers something into her ear. Kari's here. She's going to take care of you.
I tell you what.
My name is Doran.
I tell you what, Doran, I appreciate it. I'm gonna do you a favor. I like to work on the move. I'm a active kind of fella. My friends here, Fitzy and Sally, they're gonna want to get up. They're gonna want to go dancing and everything. I don't even need a table. Once I've had a chance to talk to Chance, I'll go take care of my stuff. I really just appreciate the venue. I was on a tight schedule here. I appreciate what you guys put together for us.
Well, the meetings with Chance, they take part. They take. What's the word? They take part. Sorry, my tongue doesn't always use the your language correctly. Clarice will take you to a room where you can meet with him privately. The standing sort of instructions are that the entire party are supposed to be there. I can have her come back for you in a half hour if you'd like to take a moment.
No, we'll take care of it now. We'll go talk to him.
Okay, so you follow this young human as she takes you through the crowd. You get a sense that the tone and disposition of the crowd, the club is a little busier than you thought, based on the information that Levi was able to gather from sort of like all the sort of like digging into the details of the plans and stuff. There looks to be almost, I would say, probably 160, 170, humans and Xenos all around this place. This place is like bustling at capacity. There's a vibe about it though that feels a little bit more dangerous. And for Fitzy, who's been probably in a lot of bar fights, there's a serious like vibe or tone or edge to this place that just kind of like sets off your spidey senses a little bit. Yeah, it's like, yeah, this was the place to come for a fight.
I think, first of all, I'm disappointed you didn't do a hello, Clarice. But also, sensing this, does it look like there's, like, ruffians about? Or does it just look like there's a very tense atmosphere, like, any second now, a spark could ignite?
There's an element of tension, but there's also a sense of, like, a bunch of buffoons or, like, guerrilla, type enforcers in suits in the room.
Yeah. I think, like, Fitzy will lean in to switch and say, I don't want you to be alarmed, but I don't think I'm going to be the one that's going to start the fight here. I think it was ready to go when we walked in. So I'd watch what you say. And he says it to switch.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Good looking out.
Yeah,
good looking
that's
out.
kind of my job.
Yeah, but I've just never seen you do it.
Well,
Being a space version.
Okay, all right.
Got him.
That's a great way to start a fight, Sally.
Oh, I don't fight.
Well, when the whole club jumps off, that's a different story.
I'm just gonna start shooting drugs at people and run.
All right, well, teach their own.
And then if you start bleeding, maybe I'll come back.
Much appreciated.
Look, everything's going great. We're gonna talk to Chance. We're gonna do our business, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
All right, I'll take you as your word.
So the young human Clarice just kind of navigates you through this crowd and gets you to the other side, and you walk up a small like flight of stairs, and then she takes you around a corner that takes you out of the club proper and takes you down essentially what looks like a reasonably like tight hallway, and there's a number of recessed sort of doors that make the whole kind of like sliding sound as they open and close as various people kind of come back. You see a server kind of coming out of one of them. You see somebody sort of stumbling into one that looks like they're fumbling with their clothes as if they had just come from a bathroom or a refresher, however you want to think about that. And she just walks the three of you kind of down this, and you hear various noises, but nothing really kind of stands out for you. And then she just kind of walks you to the final door, and it kind of thumps open. And she escorts you in. You see what's inside looks like a lounge sort of setting. It's a private space. It's not too terribly large, but there's a couple of couches. There's a table at the center with a couple of chairs, and there looks to be like a full stock sort of like bar and various sort of like other like things that you would gain pleasure from, like a standard affair. And she kind of waves you all in, and she says that the server will be with you in just a second to take any special orders that you might have. Until that time, you're right here. So there's a button right over there if you need anything. And she points to a big red button by the by one of the couches. And she says, if nothing else, and she just backs out before you even say anything. And as the door closes, you hear an extra click. And we're going to cut to Levi. Levi, you are backstage, dude. You are someplace where there's like you have access to what's going on the backside. It's quiet where you are. What are you doing?
I'm doing my kind of thing I do is I go find like an access port, like the little tunnels, and going to find like somewhere to like go chill out, hide, and hack this information to relay. But one of the things I want to look up is who the fuck is here?
Okay, so you know that the area that this entry point that you were going to be making to this airlock is actually what would be considered like a service entrance on the establishment, and it was designed in such a way so that it's like a backdoor kind of a place for VIPs to come in if they weren't going to be public about it, but it's also a place where deliveries might be able to be might come into. Right. The airlock is designed in such a way so that ships could actually attach like some sort of a tube. Right. And so the area that you're right in is there's a couple of hallways kind of branching off. There looks like to be a couple of like storage areas around you. You you know that you would have pretty good access from these general areas because there are data ports in each one of these sort of storage rooms, or you can gain access sort of to like the interior of the ship and like the conduits, much like the pirate cove.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I would do is find one of those access tunnels to get inside and then kind of hang out in there for the time being to get the information that I need.
All right, so you were able to navigate this, but in needing to go in there, you're going to have to take off your suit. It's slightly bulky. It's actually sort of a streamlined sort of like, you know, suit that you would use for most jobs, but this access tunnel is really tight, so it's going to require you to actually remove your suit in order to be able to do this.
Okay. Is there a place where I can hide my suit?
Absolutely, you can. Like I said, there's a couple of storage areas, like, you know, like open, like doors off to where you were that you could definitely store it, where it would be very easy for you to grab, kind of a thing.
Okay.
All right, so you do that and you kind of navigate your way into. So talk to me about how you're approaching getting the information that you're going to now that you're in the conduit and you're generally getting access.
So I imagine currently I took off the spacesuit, like the mansion, but like I got like the tight like skin suit thing on that goes on under it. So I look like a weird hacker ninja right now. And so like as I put the actual suit away, I open up the access hatch. That it's like right there, like right off the thing. I would like look around, open it, kind of like back the way in, and kind of like close it behind me, and then like start climbing down the tunnel and trying to remember the schematics of where the data port was in this area.
Okay.
And then getting to it and like hooking up like the jacks and all that kind of stuff, and like getting everything connected, making sure I have a really good connection, and then like in like the data pad I'm holding, like there's wires, but there's like boxes like on the wires, and those are sort of like something that like if anything tries to detect the signal, it just relays it back as normal. So no one's any the wiser that he's like in the system, like going around looking. So there's like no interruption. Basically that's what he'd be doing, and he'd be like hacking in to find out the target. Who are we here to get again?
You are here to get the Pirate Queen's business partner who you are not actually aware of. You don't have an identity for. You did receive a coded anonymous message that you would be meeting this particular person here on the station, and that they were expecting you. They also indicated that they were Lynn's contact that you were supposed to be, you know, speaking to. So okay. You are first, as I understand it. So once you've got yourself securely set up, and we'll determine that as a part of the roles that you're going to be doing for your actions. But the first thing that you're doing then, as I understand it, is you're going to be looking to get a manifest of who's on the ship.
Yeah, currently who is here on the ship, because there's a lot of combat ships out there, and he's very curious about that. Why the fuck is that happening? So I will like a manifest, if there is one, of like who's here.
Okay, so that seems to me like it's a hacking role, unless you can argue that it's something else.
No, it's hacking.
Okay.
All right. I'm not going to do devil's bargain. It's risky, I think. It's not desperate to me.
I definitely think it's risky because you don't know much about the security system itself for the Stray Light. Mm-hmm. You do know Chan's by reputation that he is a gambler, and so he you know, in the past has dealt with, you know, various people, so he might be taking precautions, but you're not quite sure. Okay. As for, so it seems risky to me. As for a fact, the question is, are you doing are you trying to get the full list of the manifest, including the ships and everything else, including the crew that might be like attached to the ship, or are you just looking for the guests?
The guess, because if I try to go for the crew, that's a little too much. But I'm also trying to get into the system at the same time to get access to things and like security feeds and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit standard, I think.
Okay.
Great.
So standard works for me. Are you going to use one? So the crew now has 3 gambits. Is that correct, Switch?
Yes, we start with 3.
Okay, so the crew has been reset to 3 gambits. So risky could potentially earn you another one. Which right, you actually have 4 because he successfully. No, wait, sorry. It's 3, not 4. I'm sorry. He didn't actually get a full success on that roll for that flashback.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So you have 3. So you can use a gambit, you can push yourself, or you can take a devil's bargain. So that's and you can take the gambit and one of those.
I'm not doing devil's bargain yet. I'm gonna roll a 3.
Okay, go for
it. 663.
I didn't hear that.
That's a crit. That's a crit.
Exactly. Crit.
It's an actual crit.
It's crit time. It's crit time.
So I have a question before I actually give you the results of what the crit was. Does Levi keep does he keep tracks of anybody? Is there like any like criminal organizations or nefarious activity that he tracks?
No. As a record, like he dealt with everyone, and it was pretty much a fact that like they just kind of they really kind of it doesn't bother people do their own shit. It doesn't really bother him all too much. So there's no in particular group that he's tracking, unless it's like House Markleb. That's about it.
Okay. So what you find is the following. Chance is an idiot when it comes to computer security. Like, he is really bad at it. Like, he didn't take all of the precautions that he should have been. In fact, you're feeling like, man, once I get done with this job, maybe I should come back and help this guy out for some coin, because his computer security is bad. Because here's what you do find. Not only do you find a manifest listing a bunch of names of all the guests, all the ships that they're registered to, you also find another file that allows you to basically translate either code names or aliases with who these people actually are. Like he's just really bad about security, that he doesn't do a very good job in hiding his reference guide for, if Joe Blow is this, then it's actually such and such from House Malclef, kind of a thing, right? So here's what you do find. You find out that there are members of the following factions, criminal syndicates here. You've got people from the Turner Society, from the Cobalt Syndicate, from the Janus Syndicate, from the Maelstrom. That surprises you because Banshee didn't say anything about her people being here. From the Bornico Syndicate, from the Scarlet Wolves, the Lost Legion, and you find out a reference that Vorex is actually here. And you recognize that name because Vorex is the top information broker in the sector. It's one person, and they are reported to be able to get into any system without difficulty. So there's something big. There's some sort of big meeting happening here. And there's one more guest that's supposed to arrive, and they're supposed to be from the Starless Veil. And they have not arrived yet. And they identify themselves as Darla. And that's where we're going to end it.
Well done. Well done, everyone.
Weird shit.
Next episode, we're going to get dicked down. And it's going to be rough. There's so many bad guys all in one room.
This is where all of the like loose ends that we've like been collecting.
Yeah, we've accrued for months. Yeah, this is
Wait, the Draxler's Raiders aren't here. That's a bonus.
Yeah, well, I mean, what are you gonna do? Poop on you guys?
Could be worse, but only barely.
That was episode 7. Stray Light Run is the new name of it. That's what next week's episode is going to be called. That's for sure what I'm calling next week's episode.
Not shit like red.
Definitely should.
Yeah. So this was episode 7, Blinded by the Light. Yeah, that was some good shit, guys. I'm looking to die next week, so that's gonna be fun. That being said, let's go around, do our introductions here, and we'll get the hell out of here. We'll start with Cherry. Who are you? Where can we find you? And what are you up to?
I am Cherry the Bomb. This week we'll be getting into some RP stuff. I've been officially doing just tarot streams, so if you're interested in tarot or getting a tarot reading, come stop by. And regular GTA strippers, judges, and fun stuff. So come on by.
So perfect. It's a great segue into what we're doing. Speaking of judging strippers, McLogan, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
You can find me at Plexstorm.
Slash
I
McLogan.
was waiting for that this whole episode.
I bet you will.
Plexstorm.
Solid.
Dot McLogan. I don't know what the fuck it is. Hi, I'm McLogan.
Cloak After Dark.
That's where my lower cam is. I have been streaming lately. I've been kind of busy doing all fantastic things in my normal day life, but I am going to get into mat making streaming. I still haven't figured out how I'm going to set it up. So that's one thing I'm going to do. But other than that, yeah, follow my Twitter. I'm going to be on a show tomorrow that's going to be on our Cobalt Press's channel called The World Tree Burns, where I play a gnome who's honest and doesn't do anything wrong. That's it. I'm on this show and that show, and that's about it. So
that's the lie about that gnome. Let's jump over to Sam. Who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
I am Sam. Twitch.tv/WizenFool. Twitter @TheWizenFool. WiseFool on Discord. I'm real good at SEO, guys. Real good. I am going to be on AP Gaming Reels channel next Sunday, playing with Johnny. We're doing this wild, wacky Game of Thrones thing. We have been plagued with technical difficulties, but finally did the most recent one on Sunday, and I was already really excited. I was already like pretty sure we had a cool idea and like a cool theme, and like last night really cemented that. I'm like really excited for when we get things down and like are really in the swing of things. So that's on the AP Gaming Reels channel, and otherwise I'm back here on Mondays.
Sweet. And last but always least, Johnny, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
Johnny, Video Store Cowboy everywhere, on the internet. Like Sam has said, I will be over on AP Gaming Reels channel Sunday for Homework, the RPG. We were doing a bit of that last night, and realized that there was a lot more homework that we hadn't done because Kelsa had really kicked our ass and made amazing characters and amazing stuff to go along with their characters. Holy shit. It's not for the light of heart when you have to play this particular system. Other than that, you will actually find me tomorrow on my own channel streaming more of that stuff because shit, there's a lot to go through to create each individual freaking character. The rule book is ridiculous. And then you can also find me on Friday over at Arvin Elrond's channel for their flavor of space opera called Aspergenesis. And then, of course, I'll be back here next week. So great game, guys. Completely blown away. And excuse me, I'm going to go take a look at Plexstorm now. So I'll see you guys later.
With that being said, and all these storms of Plexen, if you haven't had your fill of the Blaze of Glory, you guys can catch up on the episodes on YouTube. We are coming back for a second season or a continuation of the first season in October. So this is going to run for another 12 or so weeks. So I think 14 total more weeks, which is going to be pretty rad. If you are not informed enough, please go to our Discord. That's where all the happening is. We have a little channel just for this. And if you guys want to support the channel directly, the best way to do that is our Patreon. That being said, mark your calendars for this Sunday, because either I'm just going to drunkenly rant on Discord or I'm going to drunkenly stream on the internet, because this Sunday I turned 32, and that's a good enough reason to get drunk and turn my webcam on. So, I'm
Can I
elderly
come
now.
hang out with you when you do that? Because that sounds like a lot of fun. Drunk Mike sounds like a lot of fun.
Drunk Mike's a blast. If you guys want to see Drunk Mike, December 6th and 7th at PAX Unplugged, Mike will be shit-faced, and it will be a good time. So,
And Johnny will be there
Last time-
shit-faced with
PAX
Mike.
Unplugged.
Last time I hung out with Mike drunk, we did karaoke.
that's true. We did karaoke, and
I haven't gotten the Mike drunk experience yet.
If you do PAX Unplugged, let me know,
I will.
and then we should get a house together.
I'm already sorry, not to name drop here, but I'm already in a house with Nerdarchy. So, there are a bunch of people that are looking for houses. So, let me know, and I have a group of people that we'll discuss this off stream.
Okay.
That being
Just tell them I'm
said,
like looking from Plexstorm.
from Plexstorm,
Can we make it a Plexstorm house?
no. We're gonna go
Sure.
raid the Shadowcasters network. They're playing Cyberpunk, which I'm sure they're plexing and storming all over the place. So go check them out. And from all of us to you guys, bye bye.